name is Teosha Charles, and this is my wonderful co-host Joseph.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Animation Station podcast.
Yes, welcome! Yay, Animation Station! You guys are gonna love this episode as much as we are. We are gonna have a wonderful episode today. The episode is based on The Lion King. Yay! Lion King 2019, and we're gonna talk about the trailer, which, by the way, the movie comes out July 19th, 2019, and I know you guys are totally excited.
Yeah, so pretty much in this video, we're going to be talking about our reactions to the trailer and some of the information that has been released about the film, as well as referencing back to the 1994 Lion King cartoon.
Yes, everybody loves the old school Lion King. They have reimbursed it. They have made sure all the textures, everything was perfect. Did you know that it's the 30th anniversary of that? I
Yeah.
can't believe that.
hmm
Wow. It's been, oh my gosh, it's been out before I was even born. Like, it's the most greatest movie ever. And this is
Yeah.
the first time they'll actually make something more out of it. And this is amazing, and I can't wait.
No, it's a very big deal. It's one of its most memorable films. I mean, they've had Broadway shows, it's had a few sequels and other adaptations that it's had, to cartoon show and everything else. But most of all, we're just going to be putting most of our focus on the actual film and also what the new 2019 movie is going to be about.
That's right. Now let's do a little bit of history. Our wonderful director, which is John Faucheux, which is also a main person who also helped a little bit in the whole 1994 Lion King, the very first one.
Mhm.
And he, of course, you have the perfect, and I mean perfect music composer, Hans Zimmer, who everybody knows composed the number one intro of Circle of Life. And I cannot wait to hear a complete version in the new movie.
Mhm.
This is gonna be amazing. I'm just so excited. And have you seen the characters? This
Yeah,
is great.
well, the ones that they've shown so far, with which is something we're going to address here in a little bit. But I'm really excited because with the director John, he also did the Jungle Book as well, and also he's very famous for his work with Iron Man and the Avengers films as well. But I mean, this is just them piggybacking on the work they've already done with the Lion. Sorry, the Jungle Book. You know, because a lot of it is the exact same thing. They're using real live animals that they've scanned and created and animated, as well with the face animations of the actors. And again, just picking back on the work they've already done, continuing that work, perfecting it, making it look even better than what it has done in the past, and really giving the film that they always wanted, even back in '94. But we didn't have the technology, and they only do the 2D animations, which the closest thing they could do was bring live animals, do live drawings of the animals in the studio. That's the best thing that they got, and that's what they can do. And they had really good animations of how the lions moved. And with this new film, they can really bring that to life even more with the motion capture of the animals and the face animations.
That's right, and it's completely amazing. And the thing is, it's actually kind of a little bit different because you have new voice actors. Well,
hmm
except for Mufasa, which, by the way, is voiced by James Earl Jones. Oh, it's
Yes,
the best
also,
Mufasa.
well, the only Mufasa, but also Darth Vader as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's something else. He's not just famous for Mufasa, but Darth Vader and the voices of infamous Darth Vader. But with Donald Glover as Simba, at first I was all like, kind of iffy about it. But
Right.
you look at the entire cast. You have Beyonce doing Nala,
Yes.
Queen Bee herself. You're bringing back James Earl Jones and so many other great actors. You have John Oliver who's doing Azazu. Yeah, yeah, Zazu.
Zazu.
Yeah. But I think it's kind of funny because, you know, with the very most of these actors are African American, save for a select few, and the only ones who are actually doing, who are Caucasian or American, you have John Oliver who's British, Seth Rogen who's doing Pumbaa, which kind of makes sense. I mean, come on, let's, and then you also have Timon as well, and all these
Okay.
actors are white. So like, the comedic reliefs are white while everyone else is African American or British as well. But seeing how they're, casting with these really great actors and making it seem a little bit more African than what they had done in the original Lion King, which you look at the cast there, it's just a complete 180. And
Right.
honestly, I think this one has better representation than it did in the first film.
Well, you gotta also remember, Lion King was based on the Swahili language barrier, Eastern and Southern Africa, and the main song of Circle of Life and most of the songs was in um, Zu- um, Zulu South side of Africa. So they also in the first Lion King they had a translator going step by step,
Mm.
but I mean they still do in this one, but it's more easier because you actually have people who actually know some of the words, which is
Yeah,
actually amazing.
yeah. Yeah, they speaking it properly with the correct accents and everything. The only other person I know I mentioned that most of the comedics were, Caucasians, but another person who's a comedian is Keegan Michael Key, who's doing one of the hyenas. And I'm really anxious to see him because he's actually broken out a lot with since the show ended with Key and Peele. Both of them have gone out and done amazing things, but he's done a lot of voice acting. You know,
Yeah,
And seeing him do this, I think it's really, really interesting to see what else they can bring to the characters than the original film. But let's talk about the trailer a little bit, breaking it down. The first one, a lot of people did not like or were kind of were like, well, I mean, this is a great trailer, but what else? What else are you going to give me? Because I saw it on YouTube like immediately, as soon as it finished, people started. They posted side by side, and it was a beat for beat of the first one
right.
in 1994. And, a lot of people didn't like it. Honestly, I thought, I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. They're showing all these animals. The animals look amazing. They look lifelike, realistic. But that's good. But show me a little more. Show me some of the story. And that's what we got recently with the actual official trailer is a little bit more of the actual voices and some of the actual characters interacting with each other.
That's right. And then also I noticed that they changed a couple of things when it came to Rafiki. If you guys don't know who Rafiki's kind of like their witch doctor, who by the
Hmm.
way is a baboon.
Hmm.
And in the cartoon, I mean in the movie, the 1994 Lion King, he uses this type of fruit to mark Simba like to mark Simba on his forehead.
Hmm.
But in the movie, he used this type of like reddish root to
Yeah.
break it apart and put it on his
Hmm.
head. Now, the cutest part that I saw that was the same was when Simba sneezed, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's so cute."
Yeah. But let's talk. That was one of the changes in the trailer. But let's talk about some of the biggest change in the movie that I think a lot of people are kind of iffy about is, of course, Scar and his design.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, so I'm kind of 50-50 on this because I understand why. I like his look. But having seen the first one, I'm like, I get it because in the cartoons, with Disney, they have this sort of design. There's this design way of designing characters that make them look menacing. And it's like, oh, that's a bad guy. One being like spikes or like a darker color or green eyes or horns and just
Or a
having a
scratch on their face.
yeah, it's very basic on saying like, yes, this is a bad guy. Very sharp features. And with the film, the new life version, I kind of like how he looks. Like I get it and I understand. Like he couldn't have a black mane. He just couldn't.
But I wanted it.
But he couldn't be dark. He couldn't have, a black mane because lions don't have black manes.
I know.
But they made him look, but in order to kind of give him that black mane look, they made him dirty.
Yeah,
Like he is filthy and scrawny and skinny, which kind of is similar to how he looked in the cartoon, where he
true.
was very skinny, he was very slim, very sleek, and then he's this very similar here. But his mane isn't big and fluffy. He's very dirty. He's even got a bite mark on his ear, on his right ear. You can see it where it's like hooked, and he's got like this bite mark. He doesn't look perfect. He looks very very dirty and grungy, and I kind of like that a little bit because it it shows a little bit more of his villainous side, but also it kind of shows him how kind of sad and desperate. Like he looks sad. If you saw that lion, like not as Scar, but just
Right.
like in the jungle or something along those lines, you'd kind of feel sorry for him. It's like, oh, this lion's been starving or beat up, or he needs care. Let's take him in. So it kind of gives you this sense of pity and kind of feeling bad for Scar, even though you know who he is and what he's about.
But I wonder, do you think that they should have did better on his actual scar on his eye?
It
Like
does.
maybe
It's
deepened it, like make it
Yeah.
darker. Because I didn't even
Well,
know it was scar until I was like, oh, there it is.
it's not as noticeable. And then again, it's just from the design. I honestly, it looks different because I thought it would look like Shere Khan
Yeah.
in Jungle Book because he has a scar and it is very noticeable. It is very noticeable and it's easy to tell the way it has this bald spot from where the fur has stopped growing and it looks like an actual scar
Mm,
or his burn mark. And maybe that's why there's no fur in that area because it's burned off.
right.
So maybe with him, fur can still grow back like it's a scar, not like an actual burn. But I thought like to make him a little bit more noticeable, there should be a little bit more balding. Like it should be skin deep and a little bit more spread with the scar. Yeah, but
Right.
and the let's talk about I want to talk about the dialogue a little bit because it's very interesting to see how each one says two lines. You have Mufasa and then you have Scar. And it starts with Scar first with his line, his opening line in the trailer, which is it kind of explains his point of view because he says some are born to feast while others are live in the dark
Yeah.
and live for scraps, which kind of explains Scar how he's lived with scraps all his life. Like I guess he's the second son, maybe. I don't know. I really hope in this film they kind of explain Scar's and Mufasa's relationship as children.
Well, they explained it a little bit in one of in the old Disney books. They explained that, of course, Mufasa's the oldest son, so he's next line to be king, and Scar, they had a close relationship as cubs, but
Hmm.
then of course, from what I read in the Disney books, they said that Scar got into some trouble and almost got Mufasa hurt, and of course his father had to show Scar, you know, to be a lion. Don't be a cub. You're not a cub anymore.
Hmm.
And that involves Scar with his scar over his eye. And
Hmm.
then later on, that's when Scar slowly started to have a little bit of jealousy for
Hmm.
Mufasa, even though Mufasa loves his little brother. But
Hmm.
still, when you're like when you're a second sibling, when you're a sibling to your little sibling to your big brother or big sister, you start having these type of jealousies. And I think he never let that go, and it started growing throughout his, grown up when he started growing up.
Yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with just the royalty aspect. But again, even the culture of lions, how they only have like one or two males, rough no more than three in their pride.
Right.
And usually males are cast out to go form their own pride of lions to go with them. So that kind of ties into the aspect of him being cast out because he was supposed to go out and form his own pride because he is a prince technically. He is still
Hmm.
a prince and he was probably just sent out to go find his own pride, but then again he seems like he was just more shunned.
But this is what I noticed though. Even in the cartoon, Mufasa did not he didn't care that his brother was there. Well, he cared.
Hmm.
Because remember, in the beginning of the movie of 1994, he was upset because, his little brother didn't come see his son's coronation,
Hmm.
and it's like you're his uncle. You're supposed to be there. So just imagine what's going to happen in the movie. It's probably going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit different. Who knows?
Yeah, and that's part of it. A lot of these films, these Disney, remakes, have a little bit of a shot for shot. Like they follow a lot of the same path, and there's a lot of similarities. And then it seems like they just kind of add to it. They don't really change anything. Very
Right.
little is actually changed, except for maybe some of the dialogue. But overall, it's roughly the same.
Oh my gosh, I just thought about the second trailer
Mm,
of the movie when you saw those they're not caribou, but they're
the antelopes.
they're the antelopes when the
Mm.
time when Mufasa passes away.
Yeah, and that was a very big thing. I mean, for me watching that film, that I think for most of my friends in grade school, a lot of them that was their first interaction with death.
Yes, that was the saddest thing ever. If you ask
It, yeah.
anybody, Mufasa's death is the saddest thing ever.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the saddest thing ever. I mean, Disney has done some pretty sad things since then, but for a lot of children, I don't think parents were ever expecting that when they took their kids to the theater to see that. And some of the kids, like them crying and them asking, it's like, is he sleeping? Is his daddy sleeping? It's
Oh,
like, yes,
don't.
he's
Oh
sleeping. And then,
no.
because like, yeah, because I mean, a lot of parents had to explain death to their kids after that movie because I know for a lot of people, like that was like the first time their children, because I mean, you go to see a Disney film, you're not expecting to see that,
I
and
mean,
then that happens, and then it's just like, okay, so you know about your dog? He didn't go up to a farm.
aw, don't say
Yeah,
that.
let's talk about your nana. She's
No.
yeah, but parents had to explain death to their kids at an early age after watching Mufasa get thrown off a cliff.
Oh gosh. The
Which
best line to that, I'm sorry, but the best line to that is run away and never return. I was like, oh my
Yeah, but
god.
ugh, I didn't really like it in the trailer. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, in the trailer, yeah.
I think maybe they'll change it because there's a lot of they always have it in the trailer, the voice, and then it sounds different in the film. It happens a lot.
I was hoping it to be a little bit more, actually like the 1994 one where it's really, sinister. I was
Well,
hoping for it.
because little Scar when he sees him, he's all like, kind of. I don't want to say he's threatening him because in the trailer it looks like he's threatening him.
Yes.
Where in the film, in the cartoon, it doesn't really sound like he's threatening him. It just sounds like he's like tricking him. Like
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, what would your mother think?" He's trying to talk into him and he's trying to shift the blame to him. So he runs away, you know, in like an agreement with Scar. He's like, "Oh yeah," believing what he's saying that he feels like it's his fault. Where in the new film, it sounds like he's threatening him. But there was always something that I was always curious about. Now that you mentioned about Mufasa's fall, I was always curious if the fall actually kills him, or does he like slightly survive, and the antelope actually kill him by trampling him?
I think it was the trampling. Because remember,
Really?
in the 1994, Scar was supposed to help him up. But of course, he
Yeah, but
like
he was
pushed his
fine.
Mufasa off and he got trampled during the accident.
Yeah, but I think it was the fall though, because I mean, you look at how high he drops him.
Oh, that's true.
I
Who
think
knows?
I mean, that's the thing. That's something I've always wondered, but never really cared to really think about too much.
Right.
Because you're assuming that the fall
Yeah.
kills him. But the one thing about antelope and herds is that they're really good at dodging things.
That's true too. Because they
You
were
know,
sure. Because in 1994, they were sure dodging the hyenas.
and they were dodging that tree that Simba was on, that dead tree, until like he just barely he only gets hit like once, but most of the time they're just dodging it. Like they're really good at just hurtling over him.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. I think it was just the fall that kills him, and they don't really trample him. I don't, that's just my opinion. Now, if it was something else like oxen, then yeah, they're not as agile and they can't hurdle over him, and then that probably would have trampled them. But then
Yeah.
there wouldn't have been nothing left.
It's so sad to laugh about that scene. Oh no. But there's one that I actually thought it was different, but it was cute. It was when Simba and Timon and Pumbaa are walking on well, walking. They're not actually walking on a giant log,
Hmm.
but they're walking and they're seeing Simba like age over time into a cub, a teenage cub,
Yeah,
finally to
which
an
again
adult.
is like beat for beat of the 94
Well,
of the cartoon.
kinda, because
It's
they were dancing and
they even have
singing.
the moon and everything. Like it's the moon and yeah, well, because here they're more lifelike, where Timon
Right,
they have him actually moving like a real animal and not just walking upright.
that's true.
So that's something different. But and they have him looking more animal-like. Like you look at Pumbaa, like he looks like a real war hog. Like his mouth is freaking huge, and they look like an actual real animals and not cartoonish like they did in the first film.
Wait, I need to know about that. I need to know your opinion about this. How did you feel about Timon and Pumbaa singing at the end of that trailer? I was grooving to it.
I think it was just a publicity thing. It was just fan fiction, or
What?
I mean, not necessarily fan fiction, but they were pleasing. It was very like I know this is our second sort of trailer reaction. We did Aladdin a while back, and
Hmm.
it was a very similar thing where they know what they're doing. They know their market. They have a great marketing team, and they're trying to sort of pander to the wider audiences. It's like, hey, look, we got songs, because everyone in the trailer they had it in Aladdin, a whole new world, because that's what people wanted to hear. That's what they want to know about.
Oh, that's
And
true
then
too.
in this one, do they what is that moment when Nala sees Timon and Pumbaa and starts chasing them? In that film in the 94.
Right. Oh, but
So
let's not forget the one in the trailer, and
mhm.
the second trailer where Simba looks up at Nala and then Nala looks back at Simba.
Yeah, yeah,
The
which is
love
kind of
scene.
which now I'm not going to see Simba and Nala. I'm going to see Donald Glover and Beyonce. That's
No,
who I'm going to see. I'm
that's
going to see
true.
them looking at each
That's
other.
yeah. Oh, it's gonna be so awesome. Oh, I wonder how they're gonna do the song. You know that's gonna be good.
Well, they don't sing the song. It's isn't it uh ah the yeah, I'm trying to think of the artist, the singer who
I heard
sings.
I heard that they're gonna sing like a little part of it, but everything else is just gonna be chorus.
Mm.
But either way, I'm still gonna like
Well, I
it.
know, and well, they're both singers, Donald
Right,
Glover and Beyonce. They both can sing,
right.
so I guess I wouldn't care so much if they sung it together.
Hmm, I think you're gonna like it.
No,
You,
no, no. I mean, everyone. I don't think I'm not gonna not like it as long as they don't change too much. I mean, I
right.
love The Lion King. It's one of my favorite films from Disney, and this one it seems like it's gonna be roughly the same movie with
Hmm.
additional content. The biggest difference is to me is Scar,
Yes.
his design, and them treating him to look like a real lion. Because besides Scar and Timon and Pumbaa, everyone else looks like as they should with the high.
Especially Rafiki. Especially
Yeah.
Rafiki.
Everything looks as they should with a little bit more of a cartoonish, humoristic design.
Right.
Scar is the only one who's the most inaccurate, along with Timon and Pumbaa. But now they're like, okay, we have to make them look like the real counterparts, because they didn't have that issue in the Jungle Book. In the Jungle Book, every everyone was designed as they should be, and everyone was a real bear, except for maybe Baloo, because you look at his cartoon face and he looks, he looks nothing like a real bear.
Right.
But I mean, he was still a bear. He didn't have any like crazy colorations or weird designs that made him look different. So
Yeah, they did really good on that.
yeah.
They really did.
hmm So they already had that work. They're just continuing the work that they had from the Jungle Book to make the Lion King, and they're just improving upon the techniques that they've already, you know, done.
So far, I'm thinking, well, what I'm wondering is how they're going to, are they just going to play like a chorus of different songs for different scenes of the movie? Like, for example, they showed one, I think it was either trailer one or trailer two, of where Simba and Nala go into the elephant graveyard when,
That
when
was
they
the
start.
official one. That wasn't the teaser. That was, I mean, maybe it wasn't the teaser, but it was how the official trailer started.
Right, right, right. I wonder how they're going to do that because the chase scene was real in 1994.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Them chasing them down, and again Mufasa saving them and him fighting them. That's going to be a neat scene to see. But then also there's the one musical number from Scar.
Oh, be prepared.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he has that. So I don't think they're gonna add that.
No,
I don't know.
I want them to. That was like the best. Like every villain, every Disney villain has their own little song,
hmm
and it just makes them them. There's
hmm
no way you can take that out unless make your own and
hmm
like replace it. But you can't take that. It's be prepared. It's that.
hmm
It's the best part. Well, one of them.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. I'm really anxious to see the ending, the big conclusions, because how they make Pride Rock look in the trailers, it looks exactly like it does in the cartoon, even though it's very simple. I mean, it's just two pieces of rock, but I do want to see how much they add to it. We talked about this in the Aladdin, how we kind of briefly discuss how all these re-adaptations, live adaptations
Mm.
are including more and more content. And so what I kind of want to see is not so much what, Simba's life is like, or any of when he's a child or when he's growing up with Timon and Pumbaa. I do want to see like maybe flashbacks or maybe an opening to when Scar and Mufasa are growing up to kind of
Oh, that'd be
exp
great.
or maybe even move their father and their parents, maybe seeing who they are. And then fast forward to the scene that we all know, the big grand opening. I mean, I'm sure it's going to open with the sun rising and then the big nah Sawaya, and I'm sure that's gonna how it's gonna open, you know, much like the original, but and his
Right.
birth, him being born, much like the teaser trailer, the beat for beat of the '94 trailer. I'm sure that's how it's gonna start with him being born. But I would like to see their relationship and what they were like as children and growing up, and kind of how why Scar went down this dark path. I mean, I would laugh. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but I would laugh if Scar is not even his real name, if that was just like his nickname. Like after
Actually,
he
I
got
think he actually I think that is a nickname.
yeah.
I think they mentioned his real name once in one of the
Mm,
storybooks, the Disney storybooks back in the day, but I don't remember. So I don't
yeah.
know if I don't know if that's his real name or his, nickname. I think it's his nickname, but
Yeah.
I'm not for sure.
Well, I mean, we're gonna be posting this video before the movie comes out, so anyone who's listening who actually kind of knows a little bit about their background and Scar's background, feel free to enter it in the comments and let
Yes,
us
if
know, and maybe we'll we'll talk about it in a later episode.
right, because if you are a die-hard Lion King fan, please tell us because I sure as heck don't know.
And also put in like some of the things that you're excited for, some of your thoughts about the trailers, and some of the things that you're liking, you're excited for in the upcoming movie.
Yes, because I can't wait for it. Oh my gosh, and I can't. I know they're not going to do this, But you know that scene in 1994 where they're singing "I Can't Wait to Be King" and all the animals stack up on each other and like
Yeah.
Simba and Nala are at the top. I know they're not gonna do that, but if they do,
Yeah, and
boy.
that's a big thing because they're gonna and the person who's doing Simba, the person that they cast, he's a young J.D. McCrary, I think that's who he is. I mean, I don't know him, but he's got quite an impressive. He's a singer, and he's got quite an
Hmm.
impressive thing for the past 5 years. He's been acting, doing TV series, and he can sing much like Beyonce and Glover. So I'm
Mm.
pretty sure he'll have a musical number.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
But as far as what they plan on doing, because with cartoons, they have certain liberties to do with the dance numbers and what animals are capable of, and then with this one, not so much, even though they are animated, but they
Right.
try to keep it a little bit more grounded in these live adaptations.
I think they're gonna make this movie a little bit more humble than like I don't know. I think they're gonna make this because so far Scar is like serious, serious. Like when he's
Hmm.
talking to Simba, and I don't know. To me, I think they're gonna make it more serious, and but a little bit funny, but serious at the same time. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, because the
I'm
way,
guessing.
yeah, because the way the actor portrays him, they're kind of going for not someone who's threatening, but someone who's a little bit more suave.
Yeah.
You know, uh, I was telling a friend this, how they were kind of complaining about it, and the way they portray Scar kind of reminds me of Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for any of our listeners who are fans of Game of Thrones, it's a great show. But that's all another thing. That's not what we talk about here. But that's who they remind me of. It's very similar to uh, Jafar, because I know we talked about him a little bit in our last video with Aladdin, the Aladdin trailer breakdown. But with this one, I see a lot of similarities between Jafar and Scar and the character from Game of Thrones, Littlefinger, and the way they're portrayed to be like this schemy, sort of non-physically threatening, but they're still threatening because how they're schemers, and the way
Right.
they portray schemers are to be like sort of suave, and the way they carry themselves, that physically I can't do anything to you. I know you would beat me in a fight, but I can easily outplot you and out scheme you because I have people who work for me and who are willing to do my bidding. So that's
Right.
kind of way I feel like they're portraying Scar in this one, even though I still think he can be physically threatening, because at the end of the film, in the finale, or the big climax, we're going to see exactly what he's capable of.
Right. You wouldn't hurt your uncle.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I know they're not gonna do this, but it's just a funny part when you have Rafiki literally
Oh,
beating every hyena with a freaking with a stick.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's something too. It's just I didn't see it. I didn't see him with his walking stick. I mean, I'll have to watch it again, maybe a little bit slower, but I don't recall it. Maybe it was in the teaser, but I
Right.
don't think so.
Oh, but I know who did have a stick that looks like a staff.
Hmm.
Freaking Timon at the when they were singing while he was riding Puma, he had like a little tiny little stick staff.
You sure?
Yes, he had something. He had like a little stick staff in his hand.
Hmm.
Like,
I
okay,
don't
guys,
know.
if you guys ever guys, if you ever see the second trailer, please go down in the comments and tell me if I'm right. Timon is holding a staff, like a
I
little
don't know.
tiny little stick in his hand, and
I
he's
don't know. I'm gonna
singing
look at it
and
right now.
yeah, because oh my, he's like singing it and like of course
No, I don't
he's
know.
holding it. He's like holding it in his left hand or right hand.
I think that's his tail.
Really?
I'm looking at it right now. You can't see his arms, and his tail is behind him. And his arms, he's like holding on to like Pumbaa's like mane, because like how warhogs they
Oh,
have
I
like.
thought he was holding a stick. About to say,
No, it's his
why?
tail. It's like his tail.
Okay, I was tripping. I I was like, why does he have a staff? That's
Yeah.
Rafiki's staff. What the heck is
Mm,
that?
no.
Oh my god, I
Mm,
can't wait for this movie, dude. I'm
no.
like geeking out for it.
Hmm. No, it's really good, and I like just how they have these animals. Just the artwork and the animations of these characters are amazing. You know, so much better than they were in the Jungle Book. So much more lifelike, and you know, even though they do have the same facial animations, just
Right.
the amount of detail. You know, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually had like a 3D scan of the animals,
Yeah.
and like that's what they used in some way, shape, or form. You know, one of the things that I'm gonna be really excited to see is the special features and them kind of breaking down how they did the animations and the rendering for some of these animals.
Oh, that's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah. You know, with us being, you know, students and everything else, you know, and animation students and art students, that's always an interesting thing to see just how technology is able to give us these amazing films and giving us the you know real life adaptations of some of our iconic animals.
Right. Well, everybody, we want to thank you so much for listening to our wonderful geek out.
Yeah.
But before we go, I have one question for you, Joe.
Mm.
Throughout the years, our wonderful producers and directors of Lion King have made at least, and I mean at least, 3 movies,
Hmm.
which is, of course, our original Lion King, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, and of
Hmm.
course, Lion King 1.5.
Yeah, which is a weird
Wh-
thing.
yeah. But which one is your favorite?
Well, I mean, the first one is always, you know, the
Right,
best one.
right.
I
That's
don't think I
true.
ever saw 1.5.
What?
Well, I mean, I never I saw like bits and pieces of it, but it's hard for me to remember. I think I only watched it like once, maybe. I don't know. It was very forgettable.
Well, it's
But
it's ba- it's basically like a it's basically saying what was happening between Timon and Pumbaa while Simba and everybody else was doing their own thing,
yeah,
basically.
I mean, it
Finding
was
finding their Hakuna Matata.
yeah, I mean, it was pretty forgettable. I mean, it wasn't that great. But Simba's Pride was a pretty good film. I mean, it went on with his life afterwards,
That
and the
was my
character,
favorite.
and it kind of expanded the lore a little bit, where you know these it's a big jungle, and it kind of showed the life of other lions, and not just the one that was there at Pride Rock. So
I was
I like
shocked.
that. I like that aspect of it, how it expand on the lore.
I was a little bit shocked because I'm like, what? Scar had a little girlfriend,
Hmm.
wife. What?
Yeah, which kind of
What?
explains like why he was so bitter about wanting Pride Rock. Like he could have gone off and made his own if he did in fact have, you know, a girlfriend.
Right,
but
right.
but technically, it seems like she was just his girlfriend because in that film he even says the other I'm trying to think of the name of the
Ziara.
not the female, the male.
Oh, oh, wait, which one?
The
Was
one
he
who they
off?
sent, the one who they
Oh,
sent
Kovu.
to
Kovu.
his like assassinate him.
Kovu.
Yeah, Kovu. Like he even says he wasn't his father. You know, he's not his son.
You sure
So
looked like him, didn't he?
yeah, it was like exactly the same. You know, exactly the exact same design. But you know, he even says that he wasn't his dad or anything like that. So you know, maybe they didn't have an actual relationship. So
Yeah. Well, well, they did, but this is when Kovu was like a little baby, so you probably won't remember. In the movie, Zara said that Scar saved Kovu and brought him here,
mm-hmm.
and they treated him like a son before he died.
Yeah,
So he knew. So I don't know if he remembers Scar, but mm, I don't know.
it's hard to
but
say.
either but either way, I Simba's Pride was my favorite.
Mm,
It was especially me being a daddy's girl. The whole scene with Simba and Kiara, that
mm,
was perfect.
mm,
That was the most cutest, adorable scene ever.
mm,
And it's funny because it's kind of like, you're the dad and you got your teenage daughter brings home a boy that you don't like. It's basically
mm.
kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then my favorite song so far, it's it's my favorite song is You Pandy, which is like it's basically a song that the song between Kobu and Kiara, and it's like super cute.
Mm.
Do you think they're gonna, if this goes well, that is, if Lion King goes well, 2019 Lion King, do you think they're gonna make a remake of Lion King 2?
I doubt it. It's just I don't see it being on their list, because no one's really clamoring for that right now for the second one. Like people want other ones instead. Like people want Aladdin. The people are really excited for the Lion King as well, and then any of the other classics that they have that most people want to see. I seriously doubt this Lion King one, Lion King 2 is anywhere on on the mantle
Mm,
at all, because I can only imagine the amount of effort it takes to make a film like this.
right, right.
You know,
Now, I know this is off topic, but do you think they'll ever make a Lilo and Stitch?
and no.
Why? That would
I
be
mean, that would
so
probably be like that
amazing.
would probably be like when they're finally like done and out of ideas, and they're like, "Can we reboot those ones that we've already done?" He's like, "Hey, let's do this."
If they make it like Lion King, I will watch it. Well,
Um,
you don't like it.
no, it's not that I don't like it. I just don't. They do what's in demand, and I don't. I just don't see that being in demand.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the end. That's the end of Animation Station. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. And make sure you check out our SoundCloud and Podbean, which, by the way, will be in the description below.
Thank you for your time for listening to us, and you have a great day.
All right. Bye bye, everybody. Hey guys, it's Teosha Charles here from Animation Station. Just wanted to talk to you guys about our wonderful company, Elite 23 Global, which is a creative place for creative minds. We have a wonderful board of branches, which is fashion, media, and even gaming. We have a team of creative minds coming together to make projects we always wanted to start, like this one. Also, come check out our clothing store called Elite 23 Shopping to check out the hottest and even cutest styles. If you want something new, come to Elite 23 Shopping. See you guys later. Bye!